to meet you guys.
Thank you. Go ahead. This presentation is about water, and the reason why we're here is because we formed an organization called the Water Disciples. How long ago did we start with that?
About 18 months. We tell you about it.
Go ahead.
We at church did this book study. It's a book written by Richard Stearns. It's called Whole in the Gospel, and the premise of it is
Anybody hear of it before you? Whole in the Gospel?
Richard Stearns
Oh.
is the president of World Vision. Have you guys heard about World Vision? They're out of Oregon, and they do just humanitarian work all over the world. So Richard was a CEO of a big company, and he decided to leave that job and joined World Vision. And apparently they are a non-for-profit, so they pay much less, and it was a big decision in his life, and he didn't really want to take the job. So then what happened was he started traveling all over the world, and he'd go into these hard places and see what's happening. And he come out, because here in the West we know about things, but it's in the back of our mind. We put it on the back burner, and we know about it, but we don't really do something about it. So he decided to write this book with all the statistics, which is staggering. We'll show you guys some of it. So we did this book, and it's really in your face. You go make videos, you talk about it, there's Bible studies, and he, you know how we read the Bible? Sometimes there's a verse in the Bible that tell us something. So Jesus go spread the gospel. And we say, okay, it's fine, you know. Situations come up where we can talk to our friends or some people, and we just stay quiet. We don't have the courage to talk about it. So basically that is the premise. If you read the Bible, there's some verses that's really hard that the Holy Spirit speak to you, and they tell you what to do, but you're like, I'll do it later, like not now, I'm not ready for it right now. So we read this book, and we 5 of us in a small Bible study group, and we've been going for 4 years now. It was really cold water in the face, and we decided we're going to do something. So why we decided to drill wells, it's like kind of the hardest things we pick, and we said, okay, we're going to see what we're going to do about it. And each one of us has occupations and things, so in our spare time we do projects, construction, anything from roofing, fencing, flooring, tile flooring, anything that will pay money, basically, to raise funds. And then we put these funds together to go drill a well. So a year ago, last year January, we had the opportunity to go to Guatemala and drill our first well with a group from Trinity United Methodist and it was basically 3 churches combined, but we went with Living Water International, this agency. They own drilling equipment, and they have set teams that's very dedicated, and they drill wells for a living. Each week they have 2 weeks rotation, and they drill basically a well each week in 20 different countries. So they maintain the equipment, and then they bring teams in. So you raise money and you go and you basically go drill a well. That something that go along with it is the education about it, about clean water, the hygiene of it as well. Because as you guys know, it doesn't help if you have a clean well with clean water and you use a dirty bucket, or your hygiene methods is not clean. If they don't know how to wash hands, or they use a dirty bucket, for instance, to go get the water, that just contaminate the water in itself. So we are fortunate to have clean water, and we don't think about it every day. You guys have done some of the chemistry and things. There's a lot of parasites. There's a lot of bacteria and pathogens in the water that we take for granted. We are like, there's a statement that say our toilet water is cleaner than what 1 billion people in the world drink every day. So think about that. If we just flush the toilet, we don't even think about it. There's mothers with babies, people that have to go to the river or to a dirty well where cattle and everything drink with it. So yeah, we pay for it, we have the systems in place, but and that's why we decided to do what we do. So, and just highlight
Anyone
the
recognize
awareness.
any of the clothing on the people here? You guys have any history class where you might have Mayan Indians? That's who this organization is, or a group of families is, Mayan Indians, and they speak a language called Hmong. We don't. So a lot of the difficulties we have is through translation. There's usually someone in the village who speaks either Spanish or something close to English, and that's how we communicate with people. But this is their native clothing.
Those ladies, they help us, and me and Rainy had this running joke. They would, when we drill the well, we fill it up with rocks, and they would bring bags of rocks, and we see them carrying, they literally like 4 foot something, They would carry these bags, and we didn't think, we were busy working and drilling the well and things, and they would assist and help and things, and they carry these bags, and I looked over at some point and I thought, man, those bags must be heavy, and I went over there and tried to pick one up, and they were about 90 pounds, and I'm like, Rainy, go carry one of that. So those ladies are extremely strong.
So his point was they were stronger than me. And they turned out to be stronger than me. Okay, let's break some stats for you. Imagine you see this. News alert. Today, breaking news. 100 jetliners crashed today, killing 26,500 people. Could that happen today? Do you think that, well, let's assume you had one airplane crash. What happens when you see an airplane crash? Or you don't see it, but you hear about it. It's all over the news. People go crazy. The first thing they do is, what happened? Quick, go investigate. Something must happen. We can't let that happen again. Right? Isn't that what happens? Everyone goes crazy, but could you imagine 100 of them? What would the world do? There'd be a panic. Oh my, we got to do something. Leaders across the world would be stunned. There'd be an investigation underway. What's going on? Every day, 26,500 kids. That's the real number right there. Every single day. That's part of the reason why we decided to do something as the Water Disciples. It's mind-blowing. But is anybody yelling? Anybody investigating? Did you guys hear about it today on the news? Anyone hear anything?
Nope.
Didn't hear a word, did you? Where are all these people? Okay, close your eyes. You guys are allowed to close your eyes. No sleeping. Close your eyes. You can't look at the board. Oh, come on. Close your eyes. No sleeping, right? Okay. So you wake up this morning and there's no water. None. No faucets, no shower, no toilets, no dishwasher, no washing machine. Think about it for a second. What do you do? So you didn't get a shower this morning. Anyone take a shower? Don't open your eyes, just raise your hand. Anybody shower? Okay, nobody showered. That's embarrassing. How about teeth brushing? Anybody brush your teeth? Okay, you're all supposed to raise your hand with that one. How about anyone drink any water this morning? How about use the toilet? Okay, I'm sure you all use the toilet. All of that's water that we use. Okay, you can open up your eyes. Now what? That's assuming that you didn't have any water. This is what happens in a lot of the developing worlds. You have to find it. So each of you think for a minute. What's the closest body of water? Does anyone know where there's a body of water close to them that they could travel to? Anyone? How
I
far?
live on Paynes Prairie.
First of all, if you raise your hand, tell me your name.
Emily?
Emily.
I
Okay.
live on Paynes Prairie, so there's water everywhere.
How close?
Quarter of a mile.
Quarter of a mile? Okay.
Farthest.
Anybody else?
There's a sinkhole in my yard with water.
Yummy.
One, two.
Yummy, yummy.
There's a quarry out there.
There is a name.
Katie,
Katie. Hi, Katie.
there's a pond lake
Can't
thing.
retreated.
3 of them in my neighborhood, but that's pretty much it.
In your neighborhood, is that what
Yeah.
you said? Okay, good. Anybody else know where there was a body of water near them? And well, think about it. Even the closest one is because you're going to have to travel there to get your water. You got to find it. Yes.
Heather,
Hi, Heather.
there's like a quarry, like right down the road.
It's actually on this property.
Yeah, we live right
Does it
down
have
the
water?
road. Yeah.
Okay. Anybody else? Yes.
It still does.
There's a creek in my backyard.
Okay.
Creeks, sinkholes. Look at you. You're all
Well, that
fancy.
sink goes in my backyard.
Okay, now imagine for a second, that's the location you're going to go to. Let's take your example, half a mile. Okay? The average person uses about 150 gallons of water a day.
Average American person?
Average American person. Yes, exactly. Now, imagine you've got to travel and get that water. We're going to take a 5-gallon bucket of water, and you got to go to this place to get your water to start the day. Let's say you have 4 family members. Each one needs 5 gallons of water to get ready in the morning. Start your walk. How long is it going to take you to walk your half mile and get that bucket of water?
There or there and back.
There and back. You need it at
With a
home.
5-gallon bucket of water.
Yeah,
40 minutes.
maybe. Let's just round it to an hour. Takes you an hour to get 1 or 2 buckets. 2 buckets. You're this. Do you know what a 5-gallon bucket of water? How heavy it is? It's about 50 pounds. So you're carrying this back and forth.
Here's a little wagon.
Back on a horse.
Yeah.
So how many can you carry? Can you carry 1, 2?
I can carry 2.
You can, good. Okay, so you get back with 2. Now you have to go back and get the next 2. It's been 2 hours.
I'm taking a while to get ready for school.
It is. So you get the water, you're walking back and you're carrying buckets back and forth. How much water, how many trips? For breakfast, you've made 4 trips now. It took you 2 hours. First question that comes up, should you use less water? Because you can imagine if you're using 150 gallons and you're going to get the water for, how about go get the water for the day? You know your family's going to need it all day, so you're not going to go get ready in the morning, then go back again. You're going to go and get all the water you need for the day. How many trips are you going to make for 150 gallons? They're 5 gallons each.
It's early.
Come on, we have math in this class too.
Yeah, we do.
Well, like if we have just like a 5-gallon bucket,
You have a 5-gallon bucket,
so you're carrying 10 gallons at a time back and forth. 50 trips.
50, so it's just 3.
50 trips,
50.
15 trips?
Yeah.
You sure?
Because they were carrying 10 gallons at a time.
How does
So
it
yeah,
use
15.
150
Okay.
gallons a day?
Oh, well, if you
Showering,
Showering.
toilet.
Flushing the toilet one time is already probably 5 gallons,
Okay,
more or less.
so you said 15 trips?
Mhm.
How many hours?
15, roughly. Well, after a couple trips, I get kind of tired.
Let's say it's 15 hours.
Oh my gosh. What?
Think about that.
What if you had
That's just to get the water for the day.
That is the day.
That is the day.
But that's the point.
Yeah.
Prioritize.
That is the day.
But then you have.
Or you get 15 people and they all carry 2 buckets.
That's why we move closer.
Yeah, but then people still need water too.
Or you may share some of it. But think about that. 15 hours of your day is just to get enough water to help your family for the day. Yikes. And that's the close one. What do you say, half a mile?
About a quarter of a mile, half a mile. Yeah.
In the developing nations, where the villages are, most travel at least 2 miles to get their water. Kind of crazy. Now, is there a rest of your day? how much time do you have left? You do sleep, so we'll give you 5 hours of sleep.
Let's sleep.
4 hours left.
You don't have a whole lot. So, you're right. Do you have time to go to school? If there were work, time for work, even prepare a meal. Now the best part. You got the water. What's in it? Do you think you could drink out of the lake?
That water, no.
Out of the Payne's Prairie? You could drink it.
It's also a cow pasture.
That's not that bad. But could you imagine drinking it?
No.
Ooh. Doesn't sound very good, does it? But in a lot of these countries, that's their only choice. They take whatever's in the water. How many people are in the world today? Anyone know?
7
A little less than 7 billion, I think it is. So, a third of the people in the world today, that's what they drink. Eek. $5 million every year. Staggering. Don't you think we should hear on the news every day something about water? As simple as water? We hear of the great philanthropists around the world, even Bill Gates. Fantastic guy, gives a lot of money away. One of his goals is to provide computers, education opportunities around the world. Which is first? Don't you think it'd be cool if we put all that money toward life-sustaining first? I know his organization is wonderful. They do great things. But who's thinking about the $5 million every year? Where's all the water development? Is there? Anyone hear anything in the news about a new water plant opened in Niger? Millions of families get water. Anybody here? I haven't either. Every 15 seconds. Again. Nobody hears about it. The dilemma for 1.6 billion people. Die from the lack of water, or die from the diarrhea because of what's in the water. Isn't that nice? Frightening. So let's take, for example, a small village in Niger. What do you suspect is their means for making either money or food? It's typically agriculture. They're out raising some type of food for themselves. You have more people who are sick, lose hours of work and money searching for water. We just talked about that. That's all day. The family structure breaks down when we're searching for water. They're not with the family. They can't help cook. And assuming someone's home sick, which is on a frequent basis, there's nobody there to help them. Because the men are out, typically, this is the way that society is there, men are out in the fields, women are home doing everything else. You're carrying the water. Get strong, because you're going to go get the water. Assuming you attend a school as a child, a student, you're going to miss a lot because you're sick often. What type of education do you end up with? Not so good. Men in the community who are out there in the fields, they're less productive. And ultimately, your community suffers. There's a sense of hopelessness and more poverty. So what can we do? Well, that's what we decided to do. We decided to help provide clean water and safe water to people when we can. And this should be the video. It's about 3.5 minutes. It's in Spanish. Again, we thought of everything. It's Spanish too.
Aunque mis ojos no te puedan ver, te puedo sentir. Sé que estás aquí. Aunque mis manos no pueden tocar tu rostro, Señor. Sé que estás aquí.
That's not what they drank, by the way.
Aunque mis ojos no te puedan ver, te puedo sentir. Sé que estás aquí. Aunque mis manos no pueden tocar tu rostro, Señor. Sé que estás aquí. Oh, mi corazón puede sentir tu presencia. Tú estás aquí. Tú estás aquí. Puedo
About a 5-gallon bucket there.
She's one of the ladies stronger than me. Kids are awesome. So Guatemala, as Richard was telling you, anyone here do a mission trip before? Where'd you go?
Jamaica.
Jamaica. Fantastic. How long were you there?
6.5 days, roughly.
What was your trip for?
We were helping build their church.
Fantastic. If you ever get an opportunity to try a mission trip, I would encourage you to do so. It's extremely, extremely rewarding. The people in Guatemala, we had to travel about, I don't know, 5 hours from the main city, something like that.
Guatemala City.
It was a fantastic experience. One of the things that we do is we try to integrate faith into it also. It's an opportunity to tell Native people about who Jesus Christ is. Sometimes there's a language barrier. We leave Bibles as one of the things that we do. And that's the verse that we sort of take to heart with our organization. So here's some of the stuff we do. Richard was telling you. Fence. Typically what we do, we don't charge what a fence company does. We go in and we tell people if you need something to be done, we'll do it for you. And then you choose the donation. Sometimes we'll give them hints if they're not sure what to do. We do a mean fence, by the way. We paint. Isn't it beautiful? Nice job, huh? You can say yes. Yeah. How about removing trees? Nice, huh? We made the tree fall down. We love using chainsaws. How about a big tree? We like soft colors for our shirt.
Can I ask, do any of you do this kind of stuff for a living as well? No. Okay, so none
It's
of
just
you.
on the side, yeah.
Okay,
No.
so it's above and beyond your 40-hour work week or
Right.
whatever.
Exactly.
Weekend warriors.
Weekend.
Yeah.
That's how big that tree is at the base.
It's a lot of Advil right there.
That's who the organization is. Friends of ours. Questions? Anybody have any questions about why we do what we do and what we think about and how important water is? Did anyone see the water bottles that were here at the school? We used to have a whole bunch. Do you guys still have them?
Yep.
You know?
Yep.
I think they're in the concession stand.
Okay.
We do.
They were bottles were created. A group, our group, and the Rock decided to put those together and help save them. Yes, please.
What got you all started with this? What first intrigued you? That were we want to reach out and start this organization.
Well, a lot of it had to do with the hole in the gospel
Mm-hmm.
and taking that book and doing that class sort of thing, and it was overwhelming, the stats alone. And one day we just said, "Hey, what can we do?" Our church does a lot of community work, and it's called Faith in Action. That's where that shirt came from that you saw in the video. So we have been used to doing projects around the city, and after going through that book, it just hit us, and we reached out to an organization and said, "Hey, can we be a part of it?" And then we formed our organization to do it.
Just like when you guys saw that stats, right? It's pretty pessimistic, right? You're sitting here and you just read, and it's horrible. It's like, man, it's almost to the point that you can, like, what do we do about it? So that book created the same experience for us, and then we did some Bible study. We studied. For me personally, it was the Samaritan woman that went to the well, where Jesus met her. Their water was clean though, but then Jesus said to the Samaritan woman, "Go get your husband." And she knew she had 5 husbands, so there was a lot in her life that was not well. So in John he tells her. So he first engaged her. He knew about her sins, and then he gave her the spiritual water, and he said that the water I give you, you will never thirst again. And she asked for the water, which is spiritual water. So just as her life was dirty, filled with sin and things, the same way on a literal level, people drink dirty water with parasites and things in it. So you give clean water. So there's water, physical water, and there's spiritual water. So just a combination of all that spur us on to do something about it. So I mean, you can take different there's a whole lot of humanitarian work that needs to be done. So whatever God lays on your heart, you can just do something about it. The stats is overwhelming, and it feels like this big, complex job to take on. So God will through the Holy Spirit, He will work with you and He'll give you idea. Just be obedient and follow through on that. I mean, we started out saying we want to do something, and we like drill a well. Really, most of us haven't traveled. I'm from South Africa, so
Could you tell?
so I've seen some poverty. Most guys haven't traveled yet. So for 3 of the 5 guys, it was their first mission trip. So and once you get outside your box and you go see really what's going on in the world, you're not going to turn away from that. You're gonna just be obedient, follow. There's always something we can do, even if it's just awareness or contributing, or just be conscious each day, trying to use less water. You're doing your part. So
Our next trip, we hope, is to Africa to drill a well. And it takes a lot of money. By the way, we do ask for donations.
What part of Africa?
Maybe,
we were thinking of Zimbabwe right now. I have a cousin that's missionary there, and the opportunity came out for Nigeria. Our missions outfitter at church recently this last week traveled there, and there's schools where they have water, but they need purification systems. So we haven't decided yet. So wherever God takes us.
Another
Yes.
question.
Go ahead.
What's your guys' biggest goal? Like, what you guys trying to reach?
Well, right now we're hoping to drill a water well every year is our goal right now, 1 a year. And then if we grow, then more than 1 a year. And the part that Richard talks about, it is a huge mountain, the need for it. But what we've learned is 1 water well changed the whole village. We can't do it all, but it's our part where Richard talks about the Holy Spirit driving us. Our part is we can do a water well, and we may be able to do 1 a year. And that village, 30 families, their whole life will change now because they have clean water. Yes?
How much does it cost to build one well?
Excellent question. The well we did there was about $5,000 to pay for just the well. And of course you got to get there and that kind of thing. Yes.
How long does it take you, roughly, for each project?
Well, it took about a week to complete the project, but the interesting part about this is the drilling can be very tricky. This one happened to be about 90 feet down, and you never know how far you're going to have to dig. But this one went 90 feet down. The first hole we dug collapsed. No way to do a second one. And then the other interesting part is, you saw the poles going down? Those are going down to the bottom with a pump at the bottom. If you drop one of them, you got to start over again. And how many did we put down there? 90 of them?
Yeah.
Maybe not 90 of them, but I think there was every 10 feet, 10 of them, whatever it is. But that's why everyone's holding on so tight. Because as you lower those things down, if you drop one,
And it
The hole's
depends on geology too. So in Africa, most wells are deep. As you guys saw, we used a little rig that was mounted on a trailer. So they go to coastal regions where it's sandy, and the layer that they have there is they call it pumice, and there's a lot of water in it. So once you hit the white or black rock, they know there's a layer of water in there. So in Africa, they use big rigs because the water is deep and they have to go through rock layers and things. So it all depends from country to country, So obviously, the big rigs is going to cost them much more.
How do you know when you hit the water it's 90 feet down?
there's a way to bring up sediment through the piping that you send down. You can bring up the sediment, and you can test that sediment, and you know what different layers of sediment are in the ground. And when you get to a certain type of sediment, then you know you're in the water layer that you need. That's a really good
We
question.
took each pipe length, like you guys saw that thing screwing. You have a lock that kind of, you drill down and you lock the drill bit, and then you disconnect the top one and then move up and you add another one. So each one we count 5 feet. So with each 5-foot depth we drill. They obviously we didn't know much about the geology, but the guy that's been drilling, there was a guy that kind of looked back with a little sieve in his hand. You like collect sediment the whole time and wash it out, and he looks at that. So each 5 foot we take notes, and he look at it. So once you get to the white layer, you know you have reached water. So normally he drills. In Guatemala, for instance, they have wells, but they are shallow wells. They're only 30 feet deep. So what happens with they have outhouses, so that water layer, the superficial water layer, gets contaminated after a while, and because they have wells, there's rats and things falling into it, or cattle drink feces from cattle's E. coli and things get into it, and then it gets all contaminated. So what we did there, we went through 2 layers of clay. So we drilled deeper than 30 feet, and then we hit the first clay layer, and then you go through that, and we hit another clay layer, and that's after that is when we hit the pumice. So essentially what happened as groundwater filtrate down, the clay layer is very dense, and that kind of seals and blocks it from the superficial layer. So the deeper layer, so you have to go through clay, and then that seals. So the water down there is safe, and they test it as well to make sure there's no
Safe to locals.
Right.
You saw the water coming out there. Does anyone think they can drink that water? You'd think so, right? You ever hear that saying, when you go to a foreign country, don't drink the water? They're not killing. It's serious.
Yeah,
I actually got some water in me, and I got very sick at this Guatemala trip. It's no fun.
So yeah, and then they assume, and people they would stop using water because they say our water is contaminated, and they know their babies get sick. So the hygiene training is a big part of it too. You know, they need to wash hands, cook water, pasteurize it, that type of thing. So what we do essentially is a big part of it's hygiene training. We have to teach them how to use the well safe and not contaminate it, because if they don't do that, they can contaminate that well, and then it's worthless. You know. So
Yeah, don't say that. Any other questions?
Did you
Yes.
guys do your own research about how to drill the well? And you mentioned maybe purification systems in Africa. Do you guys research that yourselves, or you pretty much rely on locals? Or
We've done
kind of
both. I mean, we've looked into it to see if we go to other places what the drilling system would be like. But the one in Guatemala, obviously they've done it before, and so we were able to follow what they do. They teach you how to do it, then they say you do it. You have to actually physically do it.
yeah, they basically give you a. None of us. The one guy on the drill there, he's a radiologist. The other guy worked for Bank of America. So all of us, we kind of get a crash course. The guy that's a leader there is a really good teacher. So I mean, we've never used the drill before. So after a while, you get the hang of it.
Yeah.
Any other questions? Thank you all.
Thank
It
you.
was a joy to be here.
Yeah.
I hope you guys learned something. Water is amazing.
I agree.
Thank you all.
Thank you.